I believe I have the right to not be exposed to sin on my TV.
So what are you doing about it? Have you heard about the V-chip?
The V-chip?
It's a new silicone chip implant that they put in the back of your television set, and it allows you to screen out all of the dirty movies that you really want to watch.
Oh yes, I think I have heard of that, but you know, I'm not sure if I believe in the chips. I think that maybe chips are fattening, and also that they could be connected somehow with the computerized number of the beast.
James, thanks for calling the show.
Yeah, hello. Hi.
Good evening. You're on CIUT. Praise the Lord.
Praise God, Dr. White. How?
Good morning, Austin, and welcome to the Atheist Experience. My name is Ray Blevins, my co-host Joe Zamecki, and this week's guest, Don Rhoades. Just an update on a few notes. This is live, October 4th. That is our telephone number. If you're a regular caller, you might notice that's a different number. We're actually in a different studio today, and we're actually going 90 minutes today. So we'll be taking as many phone calls as we can, and we're definitely looking forward to that. So, a few announcements. Atheist Community of Austin meets every Sunday at the Bagel Shop, but this week we're doing our monthly lecture series, and that's going on at Furs at North Cross Mall, and Don will give us more information about that here in a minute.
Okay.
Definitely looking forward to that. Our quarterly blood drive is coming up October 17th. We're doing real well there. I think our latest count's up to like 6 pints.
Oh, yeah, great.
Yeah, so if there's any atheists out there need any help there with that, we'd be glad to help you out with give our blood there. And I guess that's pretty much it on announcements here. But let's go with Don first, and cause we're definitely looking forward to this gentleman, Arthur Hyde. And why don't you fill us in on that?
Okay, today's guest speaker at First Cafeteria is Dr. Arthur F. Hyde, who will entertain us with a talk entitled Adultery, Politics, and the Bible. As usual, we'll start about 11:15 in the Longhorn Room, First Cafeteria, North Cross Mall. Born in Iowa after World War II, Dr. Hyde has academic degrees from State College of Iowa, University of Northern Iowa, Arizona State University, Carnegie Mellon University, and elsewhere. He is a noted and respected author, teacher, and public lecturer. His works on theology include Moses, The Making of Myth and Law, and Catechism of Family Values Based on the Bible. He has written historical and biblical works on Noah, Jesus, angels, Southern Baptists, marriage and divorce, both in Christianity and Islam. His most recent books include biographies on K. Bailey Hutchison and Governor George W. Bush. In all, he has authored more than 400 books on a wide variety of subjects. We are very lucky to have a guest the caliber of Dr. Hyde, and we're looking forward to it.
Yes. Like I said, that is free and open to the public there for North Cross Mall. And there's one of these books right here called
Unzipped, The Pope Bears All.
And
Great book.
I think they're trying to get it close up. There you go.
Yeah, there we go.
Yes.
This is available at American Atheist Press. Excellent. By Arthur Frederick Hyde. Talks about how all the popes throughout history have been a little bit weird. And more. Go on. Thank you.
Yeah, that's good. And like I said, if there's anybody out there that would like to come out there and meet us or meet Mr. Hyde there, it should be a very interesting discussion there. You had some news articles there you'd like to share?
Oh, a couple here. This one's a little old, August 3rd of 1998, and this is about our friend, the House Representative, the Democrat from Ohio, James A. Trafficant, Jr., who made some disparaging comments. And the whole free thought community in America took notice, and I haven't had a chance to get the actual wording, but I have it here, and I have to give credit. This is from the September-October 98 issue of the Atheist Nation, an excellent publication. If you'll notice, they have a neat little illustration here. Can you show that? That's a primate. Anyway, Atheist Nation, a darn good publication. And here we have the actual wording, and this is from August 3rd in the House, and this is, Mr. Trafficant was asked and was given permission to address the House for 1 minute and to revise and extend his remarks. And this is about a survey that was taken about scientists, and it said that 7% of scientists believe in God. And so his words were, quote, "Mr. Speaker, a new report says only 7% of scientists believe in God. That is right. And the reason they gave was that the scientists are super smart." All right. Unbelievable. Most of these absent-minded professors cannot find the toilet. Mr. Speaker, I have one question for these wise guys to constipate over. How can something come from nothing? And while they digest that, Mr. Speaker, let us tell it like it is. Put these super cerebral master debaters in some foxhole with bombs bursting all around them, and I guarantee they will not be praying to Frankenstein. Beam me up here. My colleagues, all the education in the world is worthless without God and a little bit of common sense, and I yield back whatever we have left. And then there are a couple days later, no, this was March 30th of 98, and it was talking about the Constitution never intended to ban school prayer. So he was asked and was given permission to address the House for 1 minute, and here's what he said. Mr. Speaker, America is still in shock. 2 boys aged 13 and 11 gunned down 4 young students in a middle school in Arkansas, and the experts are asking what happened to parents? What happened to values? What happened to our schools? Schools are overrun by drugs, violence, guns, rape, murder, and now even mass murder. It seems America's schools have everything. Congress has everything except prayer. Well, they have plenty of prayer in Congress. Maybe the so-called experts might finally realize that a nation that denies God in our schools is a nation that encourages the devil in our schools, and the Constitution never intended to ban school prayer and never intended to separate God and the American people. Think about it. I wish Mr. Trafficant would think about what he's saying, though. When he insults scientists in general, and this is not just talking about the 7%, but going after all scientists and science in general in such an, in such an irresponsible way.
Well, the scary part is he's on the... Yeah, go ahead.
He's a Democrat, first of all. That's scary. But the other thing is he's a member of the House Science Committee and the Subcommittee on Space and Aeronautics. I don't believe it. It's amazing.
Yes.
If he wasn't a human being, I would say I don't believe in Mr. Trafficant.
That statement is shocking. That I mean, it's offensive. It's offensive to atheists. It's no one like that would say that kind of thing to a Jewish person. But it's okay to slam our belief system,
Science.
or lack of belief in supernatural.
Sure. Oh, we have an excellent picture here. Is there any way you can zoom in on this one too? He's carrying his little instrument of pain, the little what would you call this? A paddle, I suppose. And of course that's been doctored a little bit. But there he is, Mr. Trafficant, anti-intelligence, anti-reality, insulting to scientists and non-believers alike, and a Democrat too. So anyway, that's one thing.
You got a thing on the Democrats.
No, I used to be one, so that, it just kind of worries me. But
interesting. Okay, we are live October 4th. We will be taking phone calls, questions, anything you'd like to ask. We'd be glad to hear from you. I see you got a little update here on the Freethinker Cenotaph. Would you like to go ahead and mention it?
Sure. It takes me a few minutes to read. Is that
That's
okay?
quite
About
all
3
right.
minutes?
That's
3 and a
quite all
half,
right.
something like that? Okay. A few weeks on the show, of course, we had Ed Scharf, who organized the effort to build the Cenotaph in Comfort, Texas. 2 years ago, Ed Scharf went before the Comfort Chamber of Commerce and proposed a historical marker and monument, or cenotaph, commemorating the existence of German freethinkers who settled in central Texas. It was approved. Ed continued working on the idea with the Kendall County Historical Society and the Texas State Historical Commission. He wrote hundreds of letters to descendants of the original settlers. Eventually, a fund for the cenotaph was set up through the Comfort Heritage Foundation. When Texas atheists and freethinkers found out about the project about a year ago, there was a lot of enthusiasm. Donations were collected and plans were made to come to the dedication. Recently, some Comfort residents realized that some atheists had an interest in the project. A statement entitled "No Monument to Atheism" was passed around. A large ad was published in the local papers from citizens opposed to the cenotaph. Over 600 Hill Country residents signed a petition to stop the cenotaph. On September 24th, the Comfort Chamber of Commerce voted to cancel the project, have the rock removed from the park, and to create a committee to study the creation of a memorial to the freethinker settlers. It was noted at both the chamber meeting and a Kendall County Commissioner's Court session that everyone is satisfied with the final wording of the historical marker. The sole driving force in the movement to stop the project was the involvement of atheists. Looks to me as if Comfort would go ahead and erect a monument to the freethinker settlers, possibly even using the big rock, if the following conditions are met. Nobody even suggests that those freethinker settlers did not believe in gods. 2, that no known atheists contribute or participate in any way. And 3, that current-day freethinkers and atheists do not react to being publicly maligned. None of these conditions are acceptable. Research reveals clearly that the settlers worshipped no deities. There may have been some individual believers among the freethinkers, probably a number of deists, but as a group, it is accurate to categorize them as atheists, agnostics, unreligious, or non-believers. Pretending they were religious dishonors them and is an attempt to rewrite history. It is not surprising that some Comfort citizens should be quite unaware of the worldwide, centuries-old free thought movement, nor can we be shocked when religious folk organize quickly to defend their community from the threat of descending hordes of atheists. In a time when hatred of atheists, like we just saw there, is the last socially acceptable form of bigotry, it was bound to happen. So what now? Atheists and other freethinkers should and shall continue to honor the memory of our philosophical ancestors. If the Comfort people build a memorial, then we will be represented at the dedication, unless it is a religious ceremony, in which case we will be free to wait and have our own. If Comfort decides it doesn't want a new marker, then there is still the Truder Union Monument, the 132-year-old headstone of Texas heroes, most of them freethinkers. In either case, the citizens of the unincorporated village of Comfort are not allowed to tell atheists to stay out of town, though they have tried. To date, 6 newspapers have picked up on the story. This effort has become an excellent opportunity to continue to educate people about free thought history, atheism, and the meaning of tolerance.
Well written. Thank you. Yes, well written. That's amazing how much, because I saw the full page ad myself there, and it was just amazing. And they specifically point out atheist community of Austin in the ad and everything else. So we love Austin, and we love everyone out there. We don't understand the intolerance of Comfort, Texas there at all. This is October 4th, and we do have a couple callers on the line, so let's go on down to Mary.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, Mary?
Yes.
Morning.
Mary, you there?
I have a problem with the phone.
Okay. I'm going to put her back on hold because we're not hearing anything. Let's try line 2 just for the heck of it. Hello?
This John?
Yeah, this is John.
All right.
Good morning.
Let me put him back on hold.
Okay,
We see you there on the lines there. Put him back on hold. And we'll be playing with getting the technical difficulty. We're usually in the main studio, and we switched studios this morning, so we got a little.
Well, we talk about the different number also. Got to make sure not to call the old number. Even though it's written there, I know, but.
Yeah, that is a different number.
Okay. We didn't have a good connection.
Thanks, Arlo.
Appropriate time.
Should I try again? Here we go.
Hello?
Hello? We're not hearing anything. Hello?
yeah, we'll be working on it.
Okay.
We're going to put you back on
We got
hold.
loads of stuff to talk about.
Sure. You had an article there, didn't you?
Okay.
Let's.
Interesting silliness in Mexico, and this comes to us from the Humanist in Canada. Wow. News about Mexico from Canadian Humanists. Okay. The Mexican Red Cross opposes condoms. The director of the Mexican Red Cross has opposed the use of condoms for birth control and AIDS prevention, a radical departure from the policy of the International Red Cross. Jose Barroso Chavez claimed condoms have a failure rate of up to 40% in preventing disease, despite research showing 94 to 100% effectiveness against HIV and AIDS when properly used. And a Mexican federal law of November 1993 approved condoms for birth control and sexual disease prevention, noting that 10 international health organizations found 85 to 97% effectiveness. Barroso also said that Mexico is one of the most underpopulated countries of the world, unquote. I don't understand. That was the director of the Red Cross in Mexico saying that. Now, if you know anything about third world countries, there's no way it can be underpopulated. But the president of the Mexican Ethical Rationalist Association, Patricia Zaragoza, said that that person, the Red Cross director, is a member of the Knights of Malta, a right-wing secret society of the Catholic Church. Oh, now we get it.
Yes.
Darn Catholics and their secret societies.
Anything to keep people from getting birth control there. It's amazing, isn't it? Shall we try again? Shall we try again?
Hello?
Hello, caller?
Hey, you're having so many technical problems.
Oh, shoot. I hit release instead of hold.
I think that was Arlo again.
And, sorry, Mary. I think I cut you off there. We're definitely having technical difficulties this morning.
This is her husband, John, on the other line.
He line 2 disappeared a long time ago.
They'll have to call back. Mary, we love you, though, and call back. You're a regular caller, we know. If that is the correct Mary, I'm sure it is. We're having a little difficulty, but go ahead and call us back.
Try John now.
There is no line 2.
There is no line 2.
I got a line 1 again.
Try 3.
No. Good morning, caller.
Hello.
Good morning. Gotcha.
Hello?
We can just barely hear the caller.
A little louder, please.
Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, can you turn your TV down, please?
He turns his TV down.
Hello?
Man, what's
Okay,
that?
we can.
We're having technical difficulties. I'm really sorry about that, caller.
You can hear me?
Yes, barely. Can you talk a little louder?
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
Thank you for calling.
What would you like to say this morning?
I guess, I heard y'all talking about that Congressman Trafficant talking
Yes.
about school prayer.
Yes, sir.
I guess as an atheist, you would believe in governing society by logic, or what? I mean, what?
Yes.
By the people.
By the people, which I guess by logic or something, right?
That's one possible way. Yes. I like the sound of that.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Well, just by logic, I mean, you can teach good and bad, right?
By logic, you can teach good and bad.
Yeah. You have to divide things good and bad by logic. Whether or not they're good or bad for society, people
Right.
in general. You know what I'm saying?
Well, our decisions on right and wrong should be logical.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure you'd agree with that.
And practical.
And maybe
Yeah.
the government should set the standard for good and bad using collective logic to arrive, what you were saying, rule by the people. I mean, do you agree with that?
I can just barely hear you. We got talking going on in
Really?
the studio at the same time here, and please repeat it. I'm sorry.
Okay. I was thinking the government, by collective, consensus of the people, could set a logical standard for good and bad to teach kids in school. Like don't steal. I think we can all agree with don't steal and don't kill.
Right,
Like
and,
I'm talking about the Ten Commandments. But
Well,
if you
those aren't very
logically look at the Ten Commandments, most of them make good sense for society.
But some of them don't.
Which ones?
The first four.
first
I have
one.
no other God before me or whatever.
That obliterates the First Amendment.
So the first one where you pray to God?
No, it says that you'll have no other God before me or
The
whatever.
Lord your God shall have no other
And,
God
there-
before
and there's
me.
actually several interpretations on what that exact, because the original interpretation, from my understanding,
Well, I would.
What's this graven images thing? Too?
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily.
What is
I'm
that
not
all about?
saying-
I don't understand.
I didn't
that.
say all the Ten Commandments, but like you could take like seven of them and teach them as standards to go by. Like they're what people should shoot for: not to steal, not to kill, not to really commit adultery, because that tears up families and hurts kids, and you ruin the generation after you if you neglect the kids. So all those geared at the kids as far as family, honor your parents, and the parents, staying together and loving the kids is all important. And, as far as even worshiping one spirit, that's all about unity. That's all about giving us one common soil which we sprung from. So, you talk about no graven images, that's just about, don't get confused. We're all talking about spirit, real life stuff. Magic ain't in a book, it ain't in the Bible. The Bible's just a book, man. It's a bunch of paper. It means nothing, man. All it tells you is look inside at your spirit, and there we all have common soil that we sprung from, like little plants. And together, if we acknowledge that and then live with a brotherly love and teach those things to our kids, we would be a lot better off logically. And don't really have a lot to do with God, but has to do with each individual having dignity as a human being and freedom to do good. But just something to ponder, man.
Yeah, I appreciate your input. You have a good day.
We seem to, come back to the Bible over and over again. I don't spend a lot of time thinking about the Bible, or I don't believe the Bible. I believe that murder is wrong and stealing is wrong, but there in the Bible it says that if somebody works on Sunday, you're supposed to execute them. So I don't look to the Bible for moral guidance, and I think that, the Christians that I know don't either. Which I'm glad. The Bible says to kill non-believers, so
there's a whole
we'd be in trouble if they were.
Mr.
Yes.
Mr. Hyde.
Thank you, Arlo. Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning. I'm enjoying your program, but may I comment on the last caller?
Sure
He's
can.
talking about the Ten Commandments. I need to know which set. There are 8 different distinct sets in the Bible.
Thank you.
For instance,
8 different sets. Wow.
8 sets. If you turn to to Exodus 34, one of the most fascinating commandments is, and I will read it, "And thou shalt observe the feast of the weeks, and the first fruits of wheat harvest, and the feasts of ingathering of the year's end." It also talks, "I will deny those who cast out nations before thee." So which is he talking about?
Good, excellent point. So, this is Mr. Hyde, our guest.
Correct.
I appreciate you calling there. Definitely looking forward to meeting you.
Right. And as for those other gods, if he reads in Exodus 34:17, the other gods are molten gods. In other words, when you get to the actual expression, and if you use the Hebrew, "Thou shalt have no other gods for before me," has 2 qualifiers. The first one, they have to be done in metal. The second thing is the concept before, which means you can have all the gods you want, except for the little petty Yahweh, who insists on being first because at that time he was known as part of the wobbling. The reason behind that is that this particular god had a wife whose name was Asherah. And Asherah is the Phoenician form of Astarte, and the reason that was objected to is it was a matriarchal society that believed in anal intercourse. So, like I listened to it, I was amused by it. I hear that all the time, and I keep saying, which set?
Well, I appreciate your input on that. And viewers, this is the gentleman that's going to be on our guest lecture today. So if you'd like to meet this gentleman in person, come on down to Furs. And would you anything else you'd like to contribute?
Not at this time, but I'm enjoying your program, and like I said, I look forward to meeting all of you, especially Mr. Rhodes. He's been most gracious.
Thank you.
Thank you. I look forward to meeting you.
You have a good
It's
program,
fun talking to you on the
remember,
phone.
when you're touching the Bible, I'm going to be watching you real close.
Okay.
You have a good day.
Thank you very much.
Excellent. And he sounds like a very intelligent gentleman there.
Hey, he's a lot of fun to talk to.
Yes.
He really is.
Okay, let's go on down to Jeff.
Hi.
Good morning.
Hi, guys. I want to respond to that last fellow, too.
Yes.
Okay.
He was talking about logic as the basis for right and wrong.
Right.
And I totally agree with that. And if the government is going to pick some rules of behavior to teach in school, they should pick them on the basis of what is logical. And, once you decide that's going to be your basis, the Bible has nothing to do with it. If maybe a few of the 10 Commandments happen to stand up to logic, well, good for them. But you don't decide to teach the 10 Commandments in school because God said so. You decide to teach logical guidelines of behavior in school because they're logical.
Excellent point.
One thing I wanted to say is one of those commandments was "Thou shalt not kill," and you were just saying how that you could be executed for one or more reasons in the Bible. Actually, in the Bible, people were executed for all 10 of those things, and so "Thou shalt not kill" really doesn't hold up very much in my opinion. But
well, nowadays they translate that as "Thou shalt not murder," so that they have a loophole for all kinds of killing as long as it's
Good point. Yes.
But it doesn't define murder. I mean, one of our guests a number of weeks ago was talking about the 10 Commandments, and he made it clear that in order to have a good law or a good rule, you need to know what you're talking about. You need to be specific. You need to point out what the rule is really saying, and making these real vague. Like there's a big movement on to 10 Commandments everywhere, post them everywhere, and they like rephrase them. They say that the one about the Sabbath, keeping the Sabbath, what that really means is to cherish your leisure time and stuff like that. Well, no, that's not what it says. It says don't work on the Sabbath, don't do any work, and kill anyone who does. And that's not anything I think we want to push for a law or to put up in the schools.
Cherish your leisure time and do it by marching down to your local church and putting your support behind that particular organization. You know, they want credit for your leisure time.
I'm sorry, what'd you say, Jeff?
Basically, they want to grab credit for your leisure time.
Yeah.
and if the Bible there are a lot of references to the Sabbath in the Bible. I mean, clearly, if God inspired it, He took it seriously. So then the Christians, as they take over, they change it. They change it from Saturday, the traditional Sabbath, to Sunday, because that was the holy day of the sun god or whatever in the
they change it
Roman time.
According to what they want, and they never call that playing God. But anyway, I think that is.
Well,
if they use that term.
Oh, I appreciate your call there, Jeff.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
We'll see you at first, Jeff.
Okay.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Okay, let's get down to Mary.
Hello, can you hear me this time?
Yeah, sorry about that.
Well, that's good. It's just amazing that you're on the subject that I want to talk about, because the Christians have a kind of cognitive dissonance about what's going on with the Ten Commandments. Okay, they're supposed to be such a good way to live, and you'll be forever happily ever after and all that. But nobody's talking on this channel, and it's kind of a relief. But I have to say it. Nobody's talking about the chaos that the one about the Ten Commandment, the commandment about adultery is causing in the political arena right now.
Yes,
okay?
I've seen it brought up several times, yes.
Well, it's a real pain in the ass, because I don't care who he does it with. I hope it makes him feel better, whatever he does. Because if he feels better, he'll be a better president, for goodness sake. But I guess that's just me. That was my point.
Come to the lecture, Mary.
Thank you.
You take care. Excellent. And, yes, and I like the title of today's lecture is Adultery, Politics, and the Bible. And I think it's quite appropriate for all the that's going on with the politics and everything else right now. Okay, we have Tim on the line.
Hey, guys.
Hi.
Howdy.
Missed your show the last couple of weeks. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
Quick comment on your explanation on killing people that don't work on the Sabbath and stuff.
Right.
Well, Christ came back and cleared that up. I mean, you know the story of the Sadducees and the Pharisees, where the guy was plowing a field or something on Sunday, and Christ specifically said, the spirit of the law. He explained it a lot better than I can, but definitely didn't tell anybody to go kill the guy that was working in the field. And go ahead.
I got one. Did he ever say don't kill anybody for any reason? It was self-defense, okay, but executions, and there are so many reasons to be executed listed in the Bible. Do you ever say,
if you
adultery,
confuse the
don't
Old
kill somebody
Testament
for
and the New
adultery?
Testament, there are, because Christ did come back to clear up some of the misconceptions that the Jews, of course, confused. And a lot of those, you got to separate. He fulfilled the law and interpreted a lot of the Old Testament confusion, because there are some stuff, of course there's stuff in the Mosaic Code where they're, kind of ridiculous for modern days. And
worse than that.
So what? It sounds like there's parts of the Bible that you just do away with, that you don't pay attention to, that you say it's old news.
Christ
or
came back and said to do away. He didn't say he didn't really want to put it in the Jews' face and say, you're misinterpreting this and you're not doing it right. He did in fact kind of change the law. Christianity did change everything. When Christ came back, he fulfilled the law.
I still don't understand what knife you use to cut off what parts of the Bible you consider old news and new news or whatever else. Is it the Old Testament, New Testament?
Well, the Old Testament was written for the Jews. The Jews were the chosen people, and they had their own specific laws. And if people came into their community, then there were stricter laws, to kill people when they messed up their way of life.
Well, if I could jump in here real quick. So you believe that the Old Testament did apply at one time,
to the Jews.
That it was God's word to the Jews. Is that right?
Right.
so that at least for the Jews, it was God's will that if somebody picked up sticks on Sunday, that they be executed.
Apparently, that's why Christ came back and interpreted that, and did actually change some of the law.
I'm curious if you know, in cleaning up all this, we've got all the bad stuff out. You know, you've got Jesus saying to kill, you know, those that would not, that I should reign over them, bring them hither and slay them before me. Isn't that the passage? I mean, is that? I mean, that's killing.
So,
is that okay? I mean, do you think?
And Jesus came to correct God's word, and
no, to fulfill it, and it's the whole law changed when he came. I mean, you don't go to slay sheep on the altar anymore. I mean, there's a whole bunch of stuff that changed.
But Jesus was the sheep, right?
In the Old Testament, he came to change the harsh laws of the Old Testament, if you will, the executions, and there were lots of them, and he came to say that you don't need to execute people for such minor crimes. Why is it then that since the Old Testament is so brutal and the New Testament is so benign, why are Jews so benign now and Christians throughout history have been so brutal? There is no correlation there. It seems to me that they took Jesus' words about peace and decided that he meant kill people. And so that's what they went out and did, while the Jews were being killed by the Christians. And the Jews had no way of fighting back, even though they had the more brutal book. It doesn't make sense. Anyway.
It is kind of confusing, but I just wanted to clear up that one point that Christ did not say to go kill people that are, you know, I mean, he clearly gave an example not to kill people that are working on the Sabbath.
Okay, that's. And I appreciate your input.
All right.
You have a good day.
Thank you.
Let's go on down to Jeff.
Hi guys, it's me again.
Oh,
hi Jeff.
Okay.
Can't hear the monitor though.
I am so tired of hearing Christians excuse things in the Old Testament by saying, oh, that doesn't apply anymore, that was for those other people.
Right.
Jesus came and changed it all. If that's the case, take it out of your holy book. Just take that. That's like 2/3 of the whole thing.
Yeah. I don't understand where they do the cutoff.
A lot of money, print smaller Bibles with just
save money.
Make it a lot easier for us.
Excellent point.
What the heck you guys are saying is the way that people ought to behave? You know, this idea that it doesn't apply anymore, but we're still going to keep it in there so we can you know, point to these old laws that aren't supposed to be around, that aren't supposed to apply anymore. Is just silly.
Yes.
And I want to ask, why, if this God is eternal and all-knowing and unchanging, why did he have different rules before Jesus than he had after Jesus?
Excellent point.
Why? You know, what is the reason for this perfect, unchanging being changing the rules? It makes no sense.
Yeah, they didn't interpret his laws wrong. He wrote them wrong. I mean, it's there for everybody to see how insane this God apparently was.
Right. If they're going to admit that it's interpretation, then admit that it's interpretation. But if they're going to say that it's all God's word, then it's all God's word. And if God's word changes, then God changes, and then he's not eternal and unchanging. So.
Well, I appreciate your input.
Thanks.
All right. You take care.
Bye.
Sounds like they got some bagpipes next door or something.
Yeah, I can hear the music next door too. Yes. Let's go on down to Barry.
Hello.
Whoops. Hang on.
We got two on at once. Hang
on. Can't do that.
There you go. Okay, what do you got?
I've got a comment with the holidays coming up, as I'm sure you all are aware. I find it kind of interesting that we're going into the time of the year where my blood pressure goes up. The hypocrisy of carolers running around singing "Oh Holy Night" and then singing about a reindeer. I think that's kind of interesting.
Yes.
And that's always agitated me. And on that, keeping that train of thought in mind, I'd like your opinion on how you feel about the holidays coming up, and how does your blood pressure go up as well? And that's all I've got to say right now. I just want to hear what you got to say.
And I'm really sorry we're having a hard time hearing everything you said there.
I think we got the bulk of it, though.
We don't have a hard time hearing Don, though, my goodness.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
You're like God today.
Boom.
All right. Oh, we're getting all kinds of feedback here. No, it's from that monitor. Yes. Did you? Yeah, you have a comment?
Yeah. So, this is something that atheists struggle with. Is how do you deal with so-called Christian holiday of Christmas. And I'll tell you how I do it in my house, is we celebrate Christmas. We don't celebrate the Christian part of it. We don't sing Silent Night, but we do the Christmas tree, and we do Santa Claus, and we do presents, and my daughter enjoys it very much, and I'm not going to take it away from her. It is, after all, a pagan holiday that was stolen and repainted in the religious tradition. But many atheists choose not to have anything to do with Christmas, and I would. It's going to be a time of year that's that your lack of belief is going to be very much in your face as you go around and you're hearing all this religious stuff just pour down on you.
And a caller last week brought up that question there because I admitted that I took holiday pay for and he thought I was a hypocrite because I took holiday pay. Well, they don't go through and pick out all the Christians and say, okay, the Jews, the Muslims, the Hindus, or Indians, or whatever else. I don't know how many religions I got at work, but they don't go through and pick out just the Christians and just give the Christians the Christmas bonus.
That's right. You're not a hypocrite, right?
Thank you. I appreciate that. I see Dr. Hyde's back on the line. Let's try it. Dr. Hyde?
Right. I was just going to comment on the man who said...
I can't hear it. I can't hear the call. Hang on, Dr. Hyde.
Can we adjust something there so we can...
Try again, please.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Just barely.
Okay, you had a man who called in and said Jesus returned. What did he return from? He'd have to be gone to come back.
Good point.
And the second point is he said that Jesus was a man of peace who came to fulfill the laws, but Matthew 10:34 reads precisely, think not that I came to send peace on earth. Rather, I came not to send peace, but to bring a sword. And the Jesus of the Bible is a very vicious and violent person. Where is this passive Jesus?
Yeah.
So there's that. And of course, then there's the whole question about who was Jesus and when did he really live?
Yeah, if there even really was a Jesus.
Right. So, you know, I think this is delightful, but maybe your caller can be a lot more specific about what they're doing. And if they're going to quote the Bible, at least quote it in context.
Thank you.
You have a good one.
All right.
Thank you.
Yes. He's right on top of it. Boy,
that's right. That's
he
right.
definitely knows his stuff there. Let's go on down to David.
Hello. Good morning, David.
Good morning.
Good morning. How y'all doing?
Oh, the callers are coming through a lot better.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes.
Well, good.
Yes.
Listen, I've been, I just was flipping through and I just caught you guys. And it's really interesting what y'all are saying. I was where you were one time.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah. And
now you're going to tell me you're born again?
It's interesting how intellectual y'all are, how smart y'all are. And I was just wondering, since you enjoy making so much fun of the God of the Bible, and since you obviously don't understand who Jesus Christ is, or what he really is, or what he really means,
how can you prove that there was?
I would like to know, sir, who it is you worship. I mean, obviously it looks like you're worshiping yourselves, your ideas, your intellect, yourself in the mirror. I mean, are you really getting off on this? And are you going to be able to worship yourself that way when you die?
Yeah, and when I die, it's all over with. I won't be worshiping anybody.
Isn't that what you hope?
That's not.
But you know what?
I'm convinced of it. There's no hope involved.
Yes, that's what you're hoping for, brother. You're going to be all by yourself out there.
Let that be a warning to you all.
Thank you. Good job, Arlo. Nice timing, Ray. Kablam. Oh.
Let's go on down to Chris.
Yeah, hello?
Good morning, Chris.
Yeah, I was just kind of tuning into your show here, and I thought it was kind of interesting. I looked up the definition of atheist, and it's disbelief or doctrine of disbelief.
Well, what dictionary, where are you getting that definition from? Just to fill our callers in.
That's the American Heritage Dictionary.
Okay, thank you. But go ahead and give your definition.
Yeah. A doctrine of disbelief or denies the existence of God or gods. And it seems that y'all are taking the anti-theist approach, that y'all are really not so much not believing in God, but you're against God.
No.
And I have no problem with you guys not believing in God.
Okay.
I've had my doubts in the past, but to take this antagonistic approach seems a little negative.
I know that some different people have said that it seems like we're real anti-religion and things we say and stuff. And most of the time, we're just defending ourselves. You know, people call up and they say, "You're going to hell," and we say, "Oh no, we're not." And it comes across that way sometimes as we're attacking religion. But basically, we're defending what it is that we think is true. That that's.
And the other point is, when somebody introduces themselves as a Christian and throws the name out Christian, they're thinking they're this good, wonderful person there, and it's such a good, wonderful. There is so much baggage and history attached to that they're wiping all that out. All we're doing is reminding them all the horrible things that the Christians have done in the name of their God.
Well, there's a lot of good things that Christians have done as well.
It's small. That the price that you paid for the little bit of good that they've
atheists have done as well.
The price that you paid for that little bit of good is not worth it.
There's a whole lot of good that comes out of Christianity. I would just encourage you guys to be more positive. I certainly think it's positive for all of us to live in the world together. I believe in different faiths, and
be tolerant.
If your faith is to not believe in a God, that's okay.
Okay, let me throw out something positive. We are a tolerant group. We think it's okay for you to believe whatever you want to believe. We think that you should not be confronted with beliefs that are opposing your own internal beliefs in your government, in your schools. We believe in a live and let live. That's very much our philosophy. But we're not religious. We don't accept any supernatural anything, and that's a problem for a lot of people. And we think it's a good idea to confront that problem. We don't think it's our problem.
It seems to me by coming on TV and saying we're atheists and then taking all these phone calls, it seems you're taking an evangelical approach to being atheist. You're trying to convince people of your point of view on TV and encourage them to become atheists, and that's evangelism.
I don't think that's a bad idea, though.
They don't let you talk, though. If you complain or you have a question, generally they want to try to implant into your thinking.
Well, I would just be careful. Yeah, a lot of times you said they. I'm a Christian and I'm a very pacifist person and I'm a very open-minded person. And I would just encourage you to say that it's rather than all, some.
Okay, and
in fact, I think it's a minority of Christians who are this negative stereotype that y'all are portraying.
I appreciate your input there, and it's a legitimate point of view there, and other people. But the word atheist has got such a bad rap through history, and people automatically put Satanism and everything else with it, and so we're trying to put a good face and good meaning to the word atheist.
It's also important to point out that it is something that atheists deserve, to be on TV and be able to espouse their own opinions publicly and even talk to callers about it, simply because of the history of the backlash against freethinkers and atheists in general.
Well, let me ask you, do you guys participate in public outreach events? Do you serve the community?
We have a blood drive coming up October 17th. Every quarter we give blood.
I would focus on more things like that. Do work projects or do things in the community and get your message out that way. I think that's a lot more positive way than to come on TV and say we're defending ourselves, because now you're defending yourselves against what? Mostly Christians, it seems.
Yeah, and yeah.
Well, here in America, that's what it boils down to.
Well, I appreciate your input.
All right. Well,
you have a good day.
Bye.
Hello. And the Deaconess of Detroit.
We have a request to mention the lecture time. We usually gather in the Longhorn Room at Furs, North Cross Mall, at about 11:15. We will, our guest speaker will probably start at 11:45 or so, something like that. So if you're interested, don't miss that.
All you can eat.
Yes.
What is going on?
I just like to make the point that Mr. Rogers is on TV too. Is he evangelizing?
Our producer has pointed out that Mr. Rogers is on the show, TV, not on our show, on TV every day, educating the kids. And would you call that being evangelic? Wow, I can't even talk this morning. I'm sorry.
Evangelical, evangelizing,
Yes,
whatever.
there we go. Okay.
But I think
Sorry.
the reason that we like this format, I mean, I think we're the only ones in the world with an atheist call-in show. One reason we like it is it's fun. We're not under any illusions that the people that call in here are going to be suddenly converted to atheism. We know better than that. We've had these conversations before, but it's stimulating. We've seen other atheist shows that frankly don't seem that interesting. So this works for us.
And I enjoy the conversation with them, and when they ask tough
That's
questions, I love being able, putting through the thought process to come up with these, tough questions. We haven't had a tough question yet today, though.
Whoa.
Let's go on down to Bobby.
Here it comes.
Bobby?
Hey, good morning. How are you?
Excellent.
Good morning.
Hey, I got a lot of support for your program.
Thank you.
I haven't caught it before, but I think you guys are doing something really terrific.
I appreciate that.
It's fun.
And one of the things that I find, because I guess I really haven't jumped into being an atheist, but what I have had was a lot of Catholic upbringing, very indoctrinating, very terrible stuff.
Joe went through that.
And I'll tell you, I'm really recovered. I feel great.
Recovered from
not
religion
lost
for
in any
good.
sort of opiate kind of experience in terms of, I think I spend a lot of deep religious time really soul searching, trying to find a personal God. Well, it's like 5 years later, and the world is still the world. Nobody's really any better because of those things, and it's a lot of emotional time wasted. I've moved away from sort of a God view into a real good people view. Now I really like people, and I think busy hands are better than busy lips.
There you go.
That saying there. The more I move away from that, and I see others that do that, the funniest thing that I can ever go through, and I'm sure you guys commented on this, is I think two of the funniest things I've ever watched on television are Alex Jones and the TBN, the Broadcasting Network, where they just talk in circles and circles and circles, and people believe that they're going to die and go to hell. I mean, that's just unbelievable. Even in my own life, I watched my sister become, have this very staunch religious view, really fundamentalist Christian. And I guess 10 years later, she's got 5 children. She can't afford them, and I see that happens a lot.
Yeah.
They're making $40,000 a year, and they're popping out 5 or 6 children. I mean, sometimes God is, okay, you want to call God's will something spiritual. I think maybe God's will is real basic. Feed the dog, pay your bills.
There you go.
Get out of debt. I mean, some real basic worldly things have a lot to do with getting real straight with God. But I certainly support your program. And the holidays, the caller with the holiday question, I thought that was kind of wonderful too. They're just going to shove this stuff down our throats for the next 2 or 3 months.
Yes.
Get a lot of people into even more debt. Just because, I guess we better spend that extra money because apparently this is the time to be good to everybody. And then people run around and pretend that they're suddenly friends again. And you probably won't hear from those people for another year.
Yeah.
It's a whole mental masturbation that goes on with religion. And I guess I won't call myself on one side of the fence. I speak for those people who just don't want to make a decision about it. I'm a great guy. You guys are great. There's a lot of great people in the world who have absolutely nothing to do with any sort of God idea and really kind of steer clear of it. Now, it's not that shows like yours should be adversarial. I think shows like yours should exist, just like the caller on the left. I'm not sure what that fellow's name is, but you allow people to talk.
Exactly.
So have a great day, guys.
Thank you, and thanks for the input. It's nice to hear we got positive input.
Introduce ourselves.
Yes.
I'm Joe, Ray, and Arlo.
Yeah, I just teleported here just
Yes. Arlo Pinata, yes. He did the sound effects here. That one was perfect.
Thank you.
Let's do our Unsung Atheist Hero quickly here, and then we'll get to you.
Speaking of atheists who have helped out society over the years, this is a segment I have every week called the Unsung Atheist Hero or Heroine of the Week, and my pick for this week is Clarence Darrow, who was an attorney. He was born on April 18, 1857 in Kinsman, Ohio, to intellectual, free-thinking parents. He studied law and was admitted to the Ohio bar. He moved to Chicago in 1887 and joined the effort to free anarchists charged with murder in the Haymarket riot. Darrow argued unpopular cases, successfully clearing labor radical Big Bill Haywood, who had been charged in the assassination of a former Idaho governor. He fought passionately against the death penalty, but his most notorious case was the 1925 Scopes monkey trial in Dayton, Tennessee. A teacher in Tennessee, John Scopes, was charged with teaching evolution, and Darrow was there to defend him. In the famous courtroom showdown, the judge refused to let Darrow present scientific evidence about evolution, so Darrow called the prosecutor to the stand as an expert on the Bible and exposed him as the ignoramus with a childlike mind. Scopes was convicted, but the trial was a victory by science over superstition. Darrow went on to argue other unpopular cases, defending the weak, the poor, and minorities. He wrote essays dismissing the notion of gods, devils, heavens, and hells, and his timeless words are a beacon to freethinkers everywhere. And every week when I do this, I like to have a quote from this particular person, and here it is, Clarence Darrow, quote, "Preachers pray for rain, knowing full well that no such prayer was ever answered. When a politician is sick, they pray for God to cure him, and the politician almost invariably dies. The modern clergyman who prays for rain and the health of the politician is no more intelligent in this matter than the primitive man who saw a separate miracle in the rising and setting of the sun." Unquote. That's Clarence Darrow, my atheist hero or heroine of the week. Thank you.
Excellent. So, like I said, welcome to the show, Arlo.
Thank you.
And did you have anything in particular you'd like to share first?
Well, yeah. I mean, I hate to kind of poke fun at church, but hey, it's fun. I mean, on the internet, I found something kind of amusing. 20 things non-Christians can do in the church, and I've done some of these things. Not this one, but replace the piano sheet music with "Stairway to Heaven." Going through all the hymnals marking Psalm 666. This one's pretty bad, but find an empty seat and ask the person next to it, "Is this seat saved?" Sorry, that's terrible.
I like it.
Toss around a giant beach ball before service like a Grateful Dead concert. Start a wave.
Yeah.
Make up your own words to the songs. I've done that. 20 minutes into service, look at your watch, stand up and say, "Oh crap, this isn't the wedding," and run out quickly. Eat dry Cap'n Crunch the entire service. I've done that. If it is an Easter service, wear a paisley jacket, tie, and matching shorts. And if you're a male, wear a dress. Floral print dress, sorry.
There you go.
During the service, play with plastic dinosaurs. And if someone asks you what you're doing, say, "These are dinosaurs. They ruled the earth over 65 million years ago." This is my favorite. Dip the communion wafers in the communion wine, eat it, and exaggerate how good it is.
There you go.
Well, didn't do that. When they pass around the collection plate, drop in a piece of paper with Pat Robertson's MasterCard number in it.
There you go.
Fart and have a friend shout, "Hark, an angel has spoken." Blow bubbles. Distribute condoms. Fake a possession, but the Christians do that already. Speak in tongues. They do that already. Ask where the nearest ashtray is. They do that already. Ask someone what they think about the book of Peloponnesians. After they tell you, inform them that there is no book of Peloponnesians. Write on the bathroom wall, "The eyes of the Lord are upon you." And lots of fun little things to do.
So we have several callers backed up here. Let's
Angry
go with
people.
Kim?
Yeah, hi. How you guys doing?
Excellent.
Good. We watch your show pretty much every week. I really enjoy it. But
Thank you.
Somebody said something earlier. I don't know if it was you guys or one of your callers. Something about taking the Bible in context. And I think it's so funny that Christians continually take the Bible out of context and they interpret it in any way that suits their current position or their current opinions.
Exactly.
They can take, any aspect of the Bible, whether it's the Old or New Testament, and they can twist it around and manipulate it to the point where it can mean anything that they think it means. And I just have to laugh every time I hear people.
Yeah, a lot of times they don't even take the whole sentence. They'll just take part of a sentence.
That's what I mean. They take what they need to make their point, and whether or not it's true or relevant, it really doesn't matter to them because it came from the Bible. Obviously, it's the Word of God, and obviously it's true. But I just think it's so ironic that they're up here. They call you guys and say that you're. What did the one guy say? You're how do you say that word?
Evangelizing.
The Christians have been doing that thing for years. I mean, Pat Robertson or Pat what's his name? Oral Robertson and Billy Graham, and they've been on TV for years promoting Christianity. So why is it so wrong for you people to sit up here? You people, that sounded really bad. Why is it wrong for you guys to sit up here and express your point of view and inform people about your views or non-beliefs?
Yeah, because there's got 20 other channels that's going to be doing religious stuff here. Exactly. We're just one show out of thousands.
Probably the only atheist show on TV in America that does what we do. Like to say that 'cause I'm
I think
proud.
it's great. I think you guys are doing a great job. Real quick, what
Sure.
is the free thinking, the free thinkers? I really like that term. I think that's I can identify with that, free thinker, rather than atheist or agnostic or anything like that. Can you just briefly tell me more?
Well, I'll tell you the brief definition that I've read in freethinker publications is a person who thinks independently and without reference to arbitrary codes or dogmas like religion.
Okay.
But that doesn't necessarily mean they don't believe in a God. But chances are they do, because that's where that comes from,
Right.
religion and their dogmas.
Okay. Well, that was it. You guys are doing great, and have a good day.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
And just like to remind everybody, we are live October 4th, and we're going till 10:30 today. And we're starting on 90 minutes here for the rest of the season here. You got a point?
Well, she had brought up an excellent point, the Bible being used to support anything. And I do know people personally that use the Bible to support slavery, they use the Bible to support incest, anything.
Yeah. All the people, David Koresh and Jim Jones. And,
yes.
You can do about anything. You can support just about any position you want with the Bible. I was getting ready to go to Michelle.
Hey guys, it's Michelle. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
I just wanted to refer back to the guy who basically accused you guys, or us, I should say, of being evangelical atheists. And I mean, I tend to think of the show more as an atheist outreach.
Thank you.
Because here, especially in Central Texas, where we're so surrounded by religion, all a Christian or a Jew or a Hindu has to do is go down to their local temple or church to meet each other. I mean, where are we going to meet each other?
Right.
Yes. Excellent point.
So, I mean, with the TV show, like you said, I mean, it's nice to know that we're not the only person out there who doesn't believe. Like you say, we're not alone in our disbelief. And if anybody out there feels sort of isolated because they aren't believers, then they can just come down and meet us.
And you can do that, by the way, when we go to have our bagel shop meetings. Although today is the lecture at First Cafeteria, to remind everybody. Go ahead.
Yes. Once we leave here, we're going to Furs at North Cross Mall. And Dr. Hyde's been on the phone twice this morning. Very intelligent person there. An author of almost 400 books there. And I hope you'll be down there, Michelle.
Yeah, I'll see you guys there later. And that's pretty much all. I just wanted to say that I don't see why they think it's offensive that we should be on TV. It just blows me away.
All right.
See you later.
You take care.
Bye.
One thing I thought of, you never see it in those evangelical shows when they have discussions.
Right.
The local Christian access shows usually very rarely speak to callers, and when they do, they hang up on them quite easily.
That's another thing about churches. They're always designed the same. Pews, lots of pews facing the same way, and then one place at the front, the altar, where one person speaks at a time, and it's usually one guy going on and on and on, and you don't really get a chance to say, hey, wait a minute.
Right.
They don't want you to do that.
They'll obey the head monkey.
Who says we aren't involved?
Let's go on down to Angie.
Yes, hi.
Good morning.
Good morning. I have a question.
Sure.
I believe it was like 3 or 4 callers before you had mentioned that you told them that you've had the experience. What kind of experience have you had? Because I don't go to church or anything, but I don't know if there is a heaven or a hell, but I can't say that there is or there isn't because I haven't experienced, death or anything. Have you guys experienced it to say that there really isn't a heaven or a hell? I mean, I know they've already proven that, this world was, created long before Jesus and God was all that, was born. But, I mean, have you guys experienced it? Because...
Have I experienced death? Is that what you're asking?
Yes, because you can't say that there is a heaven or there isn't. Like, I can't say that there is a heaven or there isn't. But I'm not going to, because I have a 4-year-old little girl, and she goes to preschool, and it's in a church. It's a preschool church, but it teaches her about God, but it also teaches her about real things that go on in life. But, I mean, to her, she has a choice if there's a God or not. I mean, can you, just sit there and say...
I can feel real confident and say that there's no heaven or hell. I am convinced through my research and personal experience and everything else that there is no such place outside. Everything that's out there is right here in the universe, and this is it. There's no supernatural, and there's no heaven, and there's no hell.
So you don't think that when you die, where your soul goes after you die?
The soul hasn't been found either. So it's reasonable to say
You can't see the soul, but you can feel it. You know what I'm saying? That's how do you
can
think
feel
get
your
all those
soul?
emotions?
You sure it's not heartburn?
Well, I mean, every thought that goes through your mind can be detected. I mean, your neurons are just lighting up. It is your brain.
I know it's already been proven that, you know, how this world was created by an organism or something like that. But who knows, when we die, who knows that where our soul goes? It could be either floating around or it can actually go above the clouds. No one knows.
But you're starting off with an assumption. You're assuming that a soul exists in the first place before you've even decided whether a heaven exists.
But you're already saying that there isn't a soul. How do you know there is? Or there isn't? You don't know that.
Because none has been found, and it's not reasonable to think that one exists.
You can't find the soul after you're dead. You can't come back and tell them, so, you know, come on.
It's not necessary. There are not any phenomena that we're observing where a soul is absolutely required.
It just hasn't been found. It's just like heaven. It's in the same ballpark. Things that can't be found, and it's not reasonable to
So you just believe that when you die, and you just, that's it.
See, of course, we've never experienced death. I wouldn't be here. But yeah, okay, I don't know 100%, but it's just something that's so obvious people want to look over it.
Well, I think people need to look more into the creation of the body, of what's inside the body, not besides just the heart and the lungs, and you know what I'm saying? Really look into it. I mean, to me, you can't really experience it until you're dead. You know what I'm saying? You can't say you don't have a soul until you actually die.
See, to us, it really seems obvious that that's just wishful thinking. I mean,
I'm not saying...
want to live on past your death, then you can make up a soul. But reality kicks in, and millions of people have died, and we still have yet to find any evidence of that at all, so let's move on.
Because my mom's not atheist, but she's agnostic, I guess. And to me, when you die, your soul goes somewhere. And I know there's a soul, because then how would you get the feelings of regret and guilt and, you know what I'm saying?
Emotions.
That's all electrochemical stimulus.
We're social animals. We communicate. And how could we handle something so complex without things we'd observe as emotion, which I think is what you're bringing up, emotion.
Right, but I mean, my one question was, I believe the guy in the middle said he did have an experience. And
you started your phone call with that, and I'm not sure. I don't remember saying that.
Maybe you're thinking of the title, Atheist Experience.
That's the name of our show.
No, because I was watching it before I even called in, and
I'm sorry, I don't remember saying that. And what was the point? I mean, why did I say that?
I don't know. I was watching it, and all of a sudden, some caller, he was a Christian and everything, just rambling his mouth off. And you mentioned that you have had the experience of death before. You did say that.
Oh, no.
I'm sorry, we got confused somewhere. I honestly don't remember saying that.
But that's saying we died and came back to life to claim that you can't come back to life. I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
I know you can't come back to life, but how do you know that you have a soul? You don't know.
You're right. There's no way I can prove that I don't have a soul. There's no way you can prove that you do have a soul.
Right, but I'm not going around preaching that, you know, I'm just going to be floating around this world or just go kaboom when I'm dying, that's it, you know.
Well, no, matter is never created or destroyed. The molecules that make up my body right here will always be here and be in the universe forever.
Will be recycled.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I think you guys have the right thing to do is preach whatever you want to say on TV. It's your choice. Why not? There's Bible thumpers that are doing the same thing. You know?
Okay. Well, I appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye. We got several other callers. Eric? Earl. I'm sorry. Earl?
How you doing?
Excellent.
Good. I just wanted to tell you that I supported you guys. I called in last week, and I think you're doing a great job.
Thank you.
I really don't have what I want to say together, but I'll do the best I can.
Okay.
This is in response to the person that I called earlier, and I felt was in essence accusing the atheist community of not doing enough, to support the community. You had mentioned you're doing a blood drive. Well, he failed to bring up the fact that a lot of Christian churches have stolen billions of dollars from poor people who needed the money. You think about guys like Jim Baker, Jimmy Swaggart, and a lot of your normal churches that have built these big, beautiful buildings and then given little back to the people who really needed it.
Excellent point.
I used to be a Christian,
and they'll brag about they got the biggest pipe organ here in town. We spent $50,000 on this organ, And then, and they got people that...
Exactly. They have competitions between churches who has the best churches. And
Yeah, exactly.
Which ministers have the best cars. And who lives in the best neighborhood. I mean, talk about worship of self.
Well, nowadays, they're now going with the big multimedia extravaganza here with big screen TVs up there and everything else.
Yeah, there's a big Christian stadium called Shoreline.
Yeah.
Pretty much a stadium. It took me 15 minutes to drive around the thing. Wasn't there a church that was built in Austin? It cost $4 million.
Yeah, the Promised Land.
Was it $4 million?
Yeah. That's why I'm thinking.
Imagine if that money was spent on maybe the local schools.
Or the homeless, housing the homeless.
Yeah, and they get
unwed mothers. No. These are bad ideas to the Christians.
And spent $100,000 on a building and spent 3.9 on helping people.
Anyone ever seen?
When Jim Baker was on top, he used to have private jets that would carry all the people around. He had all these mistresses on the payroll. I mean, talk about worship of self and talking about self-serving. I think that guy really needs to do his research because the church, especially the Catholic Church, has stolen billions of dollars from people.
Excellent point.
People killed, they've had people assassinated, they have their own personal hit squad. I mean, there are documented books out there that explain all of this. So I don't think that person had any right to call and accuse you of not supporting the community. He needs to look into the Christian backyard first, and then maybe he might become an atheist.
Thanks.
After he sees all that information that's out there. But thank you anyway.
You're welcome.
You guys hang in there.
You have a good day.
All right, you do the same.
Anyone seen the Crystal Cathedral? I'm not sure where that is.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's a skyscraper of just glass and diamond, and has a big solid gold cross, 30 feet tall. It has a dent in it.
Power or something, Power Hour or something. He's got I can't remember his name.
Yeah, he got in trouble for assaulting a flight attendant or something. I heard something about that.
Hour of Power. Please, that'll come to me. Go ahead.
I can't remember, but yeah,
Dr. Laura is a big ally of him now.
I wanted to say that we also did a couple other things that we didn't mention. Last year we participated in a march in Austin that was to support a hate crimes bill.
Right.
And there was a lot of people from a lot of different groups marching there. One thing I noticed, though, was there was a very small group of Christians off to the side who were mocking us for doing that. And this was a good thing. So let it be known. Also, the AIDS march last year we were in.
And we're trying to do that again this year.
Yeah.
I hadn't got the paperwork back on that yet.
We'll try to do that.
Okay, let's go on down to David.
Robert Schuler.
Robert Schuler, thank you. Yes.
The only thing I have good to say about the Crystal Cathedral is that they've got the world's baddest pipe organ. I mean, that's a humdinger of an organ. Go out and buy any CD by Virgil Fox, because I think all of them were recorded on that organ.
Oh,
and play it on a humongous stereo system and turn it up.
All right.
You'll get the idea. Anyway, I just wanted to make a point. For me, it doesn't really matter if there is a God or there isn't a God. It's totally irrelevant. I haven't heard of a God yet that I want anything to do with.
Very good.
And that would especially apply to the Christian God. Now, here you have a God that's basically, let's just hit the high points now. He's all-knowing. He knows everything, right?
Right.
Not even a sparrow can fall from the sky without him knowing about it, right?
Yeah.
He knows what you're going to do. He knows what's in your heart, etc., etc. Now, he's present everywhere at the same time, okay?
All right.
He's all-powerful. He's all-loving. Then that means that every time a child is molested, he's there, and he allows it to happen. That means that every time a baby dies in a fire, he's there. He knew it was going to happen. He did nothing about it. He just sat back. Now, would you want to have anything to do with an individual like that?
Excellent point.
And then this guy has the nerve to tell me I got to bow and scrape to him?
Forget that.
I'll be darned. I'll see you guys later.
Thanks.
Yeah,
excellent call.
They claim it's the same God for the few people who do get healed. And one thing, I don't know if I ever brought this up, one thing that makes me so sick is in a tornado or a plane crash, 200 people die and maybe one little girl lives. Everyone talks about how the angels and the gods were with them, and well, they just kind of forget about the other 200, and I think it's downright rude for the family of the people who have died to say that God was with them and God saved them. It seems like God had just as much control to deliberately kill the other people if he deliberately save one.
God accidentally missed one, and they survived.
Or 500.
All right, let's go on down to Mario.
Yes, how you doing?
Excellent.
Hey, guys, interesting program. Listen, I can understand the points of view on the
separation of the state from church. I can understand that, and I agree. But let me ask you a simple question.
Sure.
Do you guys believe in the evolution or the creation? Which one you guys believe on? As far as God or the monkey stuff? You know what I mean? Which one it is?
I think evolution comes a whole lot closer, but evolution doesn't answer biogenesis, which is actually the beginning of life. We're still working on those answers.
Exactly.
Yes, but I don't believe in creation. It's some super being out there all of a sudden snapped his fingers and started the whole thing.
So you guys believe in evolution, huh?
I do.
But we do have a lot of evidence to support a setting for biogenesis. But first of all, I want to say this thing with belief, though. I don't have to believe in anything. There's some things that I tend to accept more. No, I don't know for sure that we evolved. Maybe aliens landed and planted fossils in the ground to trick us, for all I know. But I'm going to assume that's not true. And I think God is just as outrageous a claim, so I'm going to assume that's not true without evidence.
Yeah, I can understand that. It's an interesting program. I just thought I'd shoot you that question because I can understand the involvement of the church throughout the world has been one of the worst things that ever happened to humanity. I can understand that.
Excellent.
But as far as, my point of view, I don't think any of the leaders of the world, as far as Pope or any kind of religion, know exactly the answer as far as where we come from. You know what I mean? I think that's my last question I just have for you guys. Thank you. Interesting program, and keep doing it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cool. I'm glad to hear we're getting that much support for the show. Yes. Let's go on down to Jennifer.
Hi.
Good morning.
Good morning. I must applaud you for what you're doing. I like the way you're putting your word out on the air and stuff.
Thank you.
I have one question.
Sure.
I noticed that none of you wear wedding rings. Could you?
Very observant.
Are you married?
I'm divorced.
You're divorced.
I'm just 20, so I haven't gotten around to being married yet. Sorry.
Well, my question is, in the religious viewpoint, do you go through a religious ceremony for wedding rituals? How do you profess your union with another person? Is it in a religious setting, or how do you do that?
Unfortunately, my marriage did take place because she insisted on it. Well, her mother insisted on it, and I would have been very happy just going to a justice of peace and take care of, because it's just a legal requirement more than a religious requirement.
But doesn't the legal requirement stem from religious viewpoint?
Unfortunately, yes.
We prefer a secular ceremony. Many of us have come up with some very creative ones. In fact, some of the most beautiful wedding ceremonies have been completely secular. So,
yeah, I would love for me and my wife to get together, or my future wife to get together, and to plan this ourselves, to come up with our own ceremony, something very original, and our own vows.
But you look like you're leading to a point that I've ran across socially when I'm dating women or whatever. If you admit that you have no soul, then they ask you, well, how can you fall in love with someone who has no soul?
No, I understand that. That's a whole different category, really.
Okay, thank you.
I was just wondering how you go about performing a marriage ceremony and making it legal and whatnot. If you don't want to have a religious ceremony, are there ways of becoming married to a person legally without having, other than justice of the peace, a ceremony amongst your peers and your friends and your family?
Right, and unfortunately, I think that a justice of peace or a judge would be the only...
Well, there are some people who have that power vested in them by the state, in some states, who are not judges or justice of the peace. Madalyn Murray O'Hare was able to marry people, and she married a few atheist couples in her time, and I spoke to one just the other day. It's still going great.
Vegas?
Oh, in Vegas, sure, non-religious.
My stage floor manager there was suggested Vegas. I couldn't figure out what he was saying there.
Are the rings part of the ceremony as well?
They don't have to. There's an individual choice there.
Right. Okay. Well, I applaud what you're doing. I like listening to your show. I'm new to Austin, and this is the first time I've ever seen atheist viewpoints put out there for the public.
Thank you. Well, please come to our lecture series at North Cross Mall, and it's free and open to the public.
I plan to do it very soon.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, let's go on down to Dolly.
Hello.
Good morning.
I just can't go as far as atheism, but I am certainly skeptical of any belief in anything.
Good.
But I would like to ask you this.
Sure.
Not you, but I think it's so amusing when I hear Christians or religious people say that God saved me when I was ill. Why did he let them be ill?
Yeah, in the first place.
And I've asked them that and received rather strange looks. That's
It's a
all
fair
I have
question.
to say.
That's a good question. Don't stop asking it.
Yeah, yeah. That's it. Keep an open, skeptical mind and keep asking questions. Yeah.
They try to make you feel silly for asking questions like, but it is a good question. Like when a child says, "What made God?" You know, they give them this
Who made
look
God?
like,
Yeah.
"What? God's self-existent." It's a really good question. Don't ignore it.
And we also have a website.
We have a website, yeah, www.atheist-community.org.
And Kellen does an excellent job on that.
And a voicemail.
And our voicemail, 371-2911.
Also, I want to mention the University Skeptical Society here at University of Texas, our good friends. They're going to be having a debate with several fundamentalists or Christians, a week-long series of debates ending up on Friday, November 20th, with Cliff Knuckley. And if you know about who that man is, this should be good.
Yeah, if you watch Access Channel, you should know who Cliff is. Okay, let's go down to Nate.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Excellent.
I'd like to give my own spin on how religion in general comes about from primitive societies.
Sure.
Basically, you're given that man is a finite being, and he looks around and sees all these things that are infinite that he can't understand because definitely he has limitations. And so then they try to put rules on that. I mean, I think first it starts out with just trying to understand the universe.
Right.
And then other people who would be in power or want to be in power see this happening, this going on, people trying to understand it, and they subvert it and get it and use it as a way to control a populace.
Excellent point.
Yeah, it starts out quite innocent, just people trying to figure things out by taking just lucky guesses because they didn't have the scientific method all the time. And then they twist it and turn it into dogma, and it becomes something quite scary.
Right. And also, given if there's nothing created God, if God is just the end-all, why can't just the whole universe be the end-all?
Yes.
I mean, to me, that's a logical step.
Right, we can wire back the universe to just this tiny, finite point of energy and figure things out from then on. And people say, well, something had to make the energy. It was God. But then what's wrong with asking, where did God come from? And I think you save yourself a big step. Instead of saying God's self-existent to make the matter come from nothing, just say the matter's self-existent. And you saved yourself a huge step.
Yep, that's exactly how I feel about it. Also, though, I still see way too many holes in evolution for that to be, I mean, it still is a theory. I mean...
Well, it's always going to be a theory because, 1 + 1 = 2 is a theory.
Well, it's just hard to, when you're arguing with Christians about it, it's hard to prove it because there really is a lot of holes in it. I mean, they don't have all of the different little transitional beings that go from one animal to another.
Actually, we have lots of them, but not for, if you point a specific animal and then go out and try to find it, the odds are really unlikely that you'll even find anything. But we do have many transitional forms, even living transitional forms.
Well, mainly what they've found, though, is when somebody an animal loses a gene that another animal had. Like with the Galapagos Islands, they find different animals that are in other parts of the world, but they've lost a gene instead of gained a new gene. I mean, that's almost like de-evolution.
But you brought up an excellent point there. It might not have all the answers, but the scientific method is that they're not going to stop looking. They're going to continue to fill in the gaps and refine it, tune it, and
the only thing I think they've really found is by observing like fruit flies and bacterium and things like that, where they can actually see mutation happen, because they populate so quickly that you can actually see things mutate and then change.
Positive things.
And so that's really about the only spot where you can really point to it and say, hey, it's going on right there.
Right, yeah, and if organisms like that can evolve, I think it's very safe to assume larger beings like us do it too. It's just, of course, we don't breed so quickly.
Right.
So...
All I'm saying is,
I
generally agree with evolution. I just don't, it's just hard to make a point with it when you don't have all of the facts. But anyway, that's all I had to say.
All right, you have a good day.
We don't have all the facts, but I think we have plenty of facts to consider it a factual theory. I think if you go out and do the studying, you can find a lot to it.
Well, it makes sense, and creationism doesn't. Simple as that for me.
Right,
I want to say real quick, January 25 and 26 of 1999, the Pope will be in St. Louis, Missouri, or is planning to be anyway. And there are going to be several groups of freethinkers and atheists alike who are going to be there to meet him. American Atheists is one of the foremost groups who do that, since they were the first group to picket the first Pope who ever first came to America, and have been there for every Pope visit since. And I'm going to be there. I will try to give an official report when I come back, because it's going to be a blast.
That'd be great.
Let's have it.
All right, let's go on down to Jeff.
Hi, no, this is Amanda.
Hi, Amanda.
Hi. Well, early on in the show, someone called in and said, "Why are you guys doing this? This is evangelism." I think that's great. I don't call it evangelism. I call it support. It's important that people know that there are atheists out there, and enough of us to have our own show. I hope there's more shows in other cities.
Yes.
Someday. Soon.
Because for years, atheists were afraid to admit being an atheist in public.
Well, it's not just I'm not a Christian or I'm not fill in the blank, the religion that's dominant in your nation. It's I don't believe there's a God who wants me to be pregnant or raising a family. I don't believe there's a God who wants me to get married. I don't believe there's a God who has a purpose for me being sick. I don't believe there's a God who has some kind of esoteric meaning in me growing old. And I don't believe there's a God who has some kind of joyous plan for me dying.
You're absolutely right.
It was very threatening to have birth control because it just said, here's another way to look at your world. And what I get out of atheism is self-confidence, that I'm not going to do something wrong in the eyes of a very powerful being for whom I have no evidence, except that many people want to believe in it. I think that we need a basis for human rights that doesn't depend on religion, because there are many religions, there's many people following them, and their consensus between the major religions of the world won't come soon enough for my purposes.
There you go.
It gives me a spirit of free inquiry. It gives me grounds for rejection of manipulation by my wishful thinking. Those people who want to be the underdog, the conspiracy theorists, those people who want justice that you just don't necessarily see in the world of the living, and those people who want to be the special ones, the chosen people.
Yes.
I think that's something that Christianity, unfortunately, usurped.
Excellent
from
point.
The view of the Old Testament. You know, my view of the change from the Old Testament to the New Testament is, okay, it's not just for Jews, it's for anybody who gives us a tithe. And I find that very offensive, because that's drawing away money. It does come down to where do you put your belief, where do you put your credibility, and where do you put your credit card or your dollar? You know, if you have a perspective that says, God doesn't particularly want me to grow old, there's no special reason I grow old, then you're more free to research cancer or try to stop Alzheimer's. If you have a perspective that AIDS was sent down as a plague by God, then you have a good excuse not to open your heart or your wallet.
All right.
When that money is needed, and it's needed now.
Because and God's going to protect you, because that's for the evil people or whatever.
Yeah, many people try to say it really doesn't matter whether you believe in God or not, but I think it does for those things. It can make a difference.
You brought up some excellent points, Amanda.
Okay, well, take care, everybody.
You too.
Don't
Bye-bye.
forget donuts and bagels.
But we're going to Furs, though, not to Bagel Shop this week.
We're at Furs at the lecture series. You take care.
Thank you. I just want to say, I don't believe that any intelligent being could say every sperm is sacred. So, okay.
All right, let's go on down to Mike.
Yeah, how you guys doing?
Excellent.
Good. I was wondering your views on time and stuff. Like, do you believe in a beginning and an end, or
No, I think went on infinite. It goes infinite towards the back and infinite towards the front.
Well, I disagree, actually.
Okay,
because,
but what's his point?
The point is everything we observe tells us that there probably was a beginning, which we would call the Big Bang, And if you're talking about time before matter, that makes no sense whatsoever. You need matter to observe time. You need something to reference to.
I understand. So therefore, you probably assume that in order for something to exist, it must first not exist.
No, actually, that's the opposite of what I'm saying. Time breaks down as you go back. That's a good book is A Brief History in Time, which sort of speaks as time is infinite, but it does have its boundaries. And you know, I think how can something be infinite with boundaries? But think about a sphere, infinitely, but not like a flat plane. Time seems to be observed the same way. And the Big Bang, saying what's before the Big Bang is like saying what's south of the South Pole. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand. But my main question is, you know, about God. I guess I consider myself kind of an atheist because I don't worship, I don't pray, I don't believe in life after death, and I don't think I believe in a creator.
Right.
But the part that puzzles me the most is that without creation at all, you know, just existence or whatever.
Right.
In order for something like God to exist, if God could exist, you know, the all-powerful, I think that, you know, all-loving, all-knowing is a socially constructed idea. If God did exist, that's something that was created by man. You know,
I think so.
I think that my question is I'm assuming that for something to exist, it must not exist, but there's also the space that it takes up. Do you see what I'm saying? I don't understand the space that it takes up. That's like where it came from or what design.
That's a strange premise for something to exist. It had to not exist. My premise is it existed infinitely. It's been, you know, matter cannot be destroyed or created.
I know energy can't be lost or gained. It's just transferred. I agree with that. But in order for like a consciousness, in order for you to know you exist,
right,
you have to have a point of reference. This is the only fallacy I see in God, is in order for God to know it existed, what would it reference itself to?
That's a deep question. And since it's hard for me to put...
I know it's kind of complex, but in order for God to know it existed, if it was all-powerful, say you just did have this supreme consciousness or this all-knowing, how would it know it existed without anything else?
That's one for the critics.
Oh, you mean if, say, a God was around before the universe or before anything was created?
He created the world, right? I mean, come on, supposedly.
Supposedly. Yeah.
That one's really deep, and I don't have time to go into it. I'm sorry, I got 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
But I do appreciate your call. Please call again. Let's try Martha real quick. Martha, we're down to 2 minutes.
Hi, how are you doing this morning?
Excellent.
Great. Just a real quick statement. I'm Wiccan pagan. I follow the Wiccan pagan path.
Right.
And I just wanted to call and make a comment about the woman that asked you about marriage ceremonies earlier.
Thank you. Sure.
If she wants to just, I'm not like pushing her to become Wiccan or pagan, but if she's interested in finding out what we call hand fasting, and it's writing your own kinds of ceremonies, she could look in some of the Wiccan pagan books and kind of develop her own ceremonies.
There you go.
From that, if she's interested in doing that. The other thing is the guy that was bugging you guys. I just wanted to just reach the phone and slap this guy about why were you on TV? Okay.
Right.
Well, you know, I cannot tell at work that I am Wiccan. I can't tell anybody at work that I'm Wiccan or I'm pagan. Okay. Because I could lose my job very easily. And that's not right. You know, and so for us to have an outlet on TV to at least exchange ideas and to, because a lot of the things that you guys talk about, even though I have a little bit more spirituality in my particular path, I follow everything that you guys talk about.
I appreciate it.
It's nice to be able to turn on TV, especially on a Sunday, and not be bombarded by these people who are trying to force you to change.
I'm really sorry to catch you off here. I had run out of time, and they want me to get this other caller on real quick. Please call next week.
Okay.
Take care. Okay, quickly. We're down to 30 seconds.
Hey, this is Eston.
Eston.
The caller previously said that there was no real witnessing of evolution occurring. Like you just said, maybe bacteria or something like that.
Right.
Absolutely.
Well, I learned in my science class that in 1973, I believe the Grants had conducted on finches in Galapagos, and they
we'll talk about the next.